day, you all, and welcome to another episode of Dark Ride Review. Alright, but before we start, today's episode is brought to you by Bunny. Now, in the future, I will have my beautiful wife on here. Say hi, babe.
Hello, everyone.
She's my sweet honey bun cutie pie. She will help with the review and the final test in the end. Alright, today's episode is going to be coming from the LA County Fair. I'm sure a lot of you who live down south have been to the LA County Fair, and I've been there before a while in the past. It was quite a ways back, but I have been there, and I don't recall this ride. So I did have to find a video on it, and we're going to go ahead and review this ride. It's called the Haunted Mansion. It doesn't really have a name besides that. All I know is it's at the LA County Fair. So let's get started. And of course, at the end of this video, we're going to do our test to see what percentage it gets. As should you go on it? Should you waste your money or skip it? All right, guys, let's start this. Okay, guys, it's time for the ride review. We're going to go ahead, and this is where we tell you the percentage and information about the ride and whether it's worth going on or not. So first of all, we're doing the Haunted Mansion here at the LA Fair, which I assume they're there every year. First of all, we're going to start with the mission to get into the LA Fair. Is online, it's about $19 if you get online. That's just to get in, admission to the fair. If you buy it at the gate, it's about $32 at the gate. So that's already quite a hefty price just to get into the fair alone. And then, on top of that, you got to pay for food and all your tickets for the rides, and also games. So I did find out the tickets are at least $1.25 each, about estimating, they say. And from what we know of this ride, it takes about 5 tickets to get on. So if you do the math, it's about $6.25 to ride this ride. So it's a little less than the previous ride we just did. So anyway, let's start off with our test here. Let's start off with the exterior. The exterior, wow, okay. You know, I don't like the paints, the paintings. The artists do a great job. I'm not saying the artist is bad. It's just very cheap. I prefer to have animatronic lights and things moving, maybe some fog machines, some scary music. There's nothing on here, no music, no fog machines. The animatronic didn't even work that was in the front. So we're going to go ahead and, man, I'm going to give this I'm going to have to give it a low, at least they had one animatronic. I'm going to give it a 4. The art was okay. The bat was alright. But we're going to go ahead and give it a 4 for the exterior. Alright, let's move on to the car and tech. The car and tech is very plain. It's a 2-seater vehicle. It does have art on it. Which, you know, a lot of these things do have art on it. It's nothing really special. Because it is a 2-seater, though, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3 on that. It didn't look very comfortable. It looked really tight in there, and a person like me with long legs, it's not comfortable riding on something like that. Alright, now we're going to go on the line speed, and is it worth it? Well, I guess if we're going off this video alone, there's no line. So if you want to pay the $650 or $625 to get on this ride, yeah, go ahead. You know, there's no line. Maybe on a busy day there might be a line, but it didn't seem very busy there. So I'm going to say, as far as getting on and worth it, I mean, it's pretty easy to get on, it seems, especially in this video. So we'll give it a 5. Whether it's worth it, took the number down a lot. That's why. But getting on was easy. Okay, and let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go with the animatronics now. Well, as you guys saw, the animatronics weren't that great. Some of them didn't work, especially the first animatronic. Most of it was just flashing lights and a little bit of jumping movement. A lot of times we didn't even know what it was. So, I mean, I'm going to have to go with a 3 on animatronics. At least they had them. At least they had flashing lights. So we're going to do a 3 on animatronics for that one. Okay, let's move on here. We're moving on to... we're moving on to our scare meter. So our scare meter is a meter, let me pull it up here. From green to red. And it shows... how scary this ride is. Let's see, I think I'm going to give this... I'm going to give this a yellow. Let's give it a yellow. The reason we're going to give it a yellow because there was that one part that scared... It popped up pretty quick. It was very dark and it screamed all of a sudden. In fact, let me play it real quick here for you guys. Yeah, so you see... popped up, and that part kind of got you, that, you know, little jump scare there. So we'll give it a yellow. It's not quite green. So it getting a yellow again, I'm only going to go with 3 on that for the scare meter, and it got a yellow. All right. So, and then of course the rest of the ride, it wasn't that scary unless you count darkness, you know, and flashing lights every now and then. Can't even see what it is. Okay, we're going on length. This ride is very short. It's pretty common. Just zigzagged a few times and was out. This ride probably would have seemed longer if it had more in it, but because it was a lot of empty space, you were in and out pretty quick. I'm going to give this a 2. Like I said, it maybe would feel longer if it had more in it. Okay, would you take multi-rides on this and tell friends about this? I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't waste my time. I'd go on it once and that's it. Would I tell my friends about it? No, I wouldn't. So I'm going to have to go with another 2 on this. Just because it's just so low. I wouldn't get on it again. I wouldn't tell my friends about it. This is a must thing, you must go. At this point, you might as well get on the Graviton next to it. That's a little more thrilling. Okay, and let's go on. We're going to move on to technology. Okay, the tech is pretty average. Pretty darn average. It's your basic track. I do like that it's a 2-seater vehicle. that helps a little bit. Oh man, the animatronics didn't even work. Man, I mean, I guess we're gonna have to, because the ride vehicle's kind of nice with the two-seaters. Um, it didn't seem too bumpy or noisy either. We're gonna go ahead and give it a 3. 3 on that. Okay. Now we're actually on our ninth test here. We're almost to 10. It's the location. Well, first of all, it's the LA County Fair. You got to get a lot of points for that because a lot of people go to the LA County Fair. It's a big event down in LA, of course. So location, I mean, this might be its biggest point. I would almost actually give it an 8 just because the location is great. Everybody's going to LA Fair. People come from far and wide to go to the LA Fair, so that's a great. We'll give it a good 8 right there. Okay, now we're moving on to our last test here, which is the price and value. Well, I talked about in the beginning, each ticket is about $1.25, and this takes 5 tickets. So I estimated calculated it. It was $6.50 exactly to get on this ride. Well, if you remember, the last ride we were talking about was about $8 to get on. So 2 more bucks, you get a better ride, full of animatronics, a lot longer ride. Do I think this is worth $6? No. Do I think this is worth 3 tickets? Yes. So I would say the price is not worth it. It needs to be lowered for the value you get. So the price and value would be lowered. And with that, like I said, you are at the LA Fair. A lot of people are there. You might be with some friends. That might make it a little funner maybe in there. You know, jump around and scare each other, scream and stuff. But besides making it your own experience, it's not much of an experience. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. Just to be nice, because it is at the LA County Fair. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and add this up and we'll see what we get. Okay, and our final tally is 37%. I mean, it could be lower. It's alright. It's not even 50%. As when it comes to how good a dark ride should be. I'm very shocked for an LA County Fair, such a big fair, would have such a cheap dark ride. Not that I haven't seen cheaper. I've seen cheaper. I just wish a lot of these rides would put a little more effort into their. Sometimes it's something as simple as putting a fog machine in there. You can go to some of these stores, spirit store and buy a better animatronic than what you guys have. It's just, I don't understand a lot of your guys' thought behind these, besides just making money the cheapest way possible with no value, which is sad because a lot of things are becoming that way nowadays. Not to be negative, and that's not all dark rides. I've been on some great dark rides. All right, guys. So this is a 37. Would I say run out there and get on this ride right away? Heck no. If you happen to be there, go ahead and ride it. Check it out. If you want to pay the $6 to get on it, just kind of check it out. Okay, guys. Thanks for joining me in this episode. This was an episode for the Haunted Mansion at the LA County Fair, and I look forward to doing more episodes with you guys. See you later.